Across Nigeria, devastating fires have claimed lives, destroyed public assets, and crippled essential services from hospitals to markets, schools to government offices. Many of these tragedies could have been prevented with a simple, affordable device, the smoke alarm. Now, the Nigerian Institute of Safety Engineers is leading a national call for all public spaces or public buildings to be equipped with smoke alarm systems. Joining us to unravel or unpack this life-saving initiative is the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Safety Engineers, Engineer Oluseun Faluyi. Welcome to Summit.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me for the very first time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So today we are talking about, let me see the topic, safety first. Why all public buildings in Nigeria should have smoke alarms. Very important. All right, so Mr. Chairman, let's start from the beginning. What motivated the Nigerian Institute of Safety Engineers to champion this advocacy?
Thank you very much. There are a number of things, and I want to first of all say thank you very much for inviting the
You're
Nigerian
welcome,
Institute of Safety Engineers to talk about this. This year, our annual general meeting and international conference was based on fire safety. So it was something that we said that we wanted to raise awareness more about fire. But in addition to that, there have been a number of tragedies in the recent past. There's the one at the Afriland properties, Afriland Towers, that gained so much notoriety. And then it has been happening in markets, it's been happening in different public spaces. And one of the things that we said as an institution is that fires, is it that we don't know what fires are? Why is it that we don't seem to have been able to solve the problem? What is it that is really going to be key?
We're always proactive. We always act surprised when there's a fire incident.
And it has happened so many times before,
yes.
in the same places, at the same time, same type of place. So one of the key things that we said that is very simple, low-hanging fruit, is have an alarm. Once you're able to have that alarm, people will be able to react or respond faster and will be able to do something about it. The thing with fires is that once it starts, you don't have much time to respond. But if there's somebody that can shout, "Oh, Pariwo, help, please," then you will have at least a better chance. And the fire alarm is a very simple, low-hanging fruit. Even if it is something that is battery operated, to just put it in a public building, it is going to help very much, that it will be able to make the noise for people to say, oh, there is an issue, there's an incident, and let's do something about it so we can be safe.
All right, so of course, we always hear about fire outbreaks in Nigeria, but can you help us understand the scale of the problem? And what are the most recent statistics or cases that show how urgent this issue really is?
So it is something that is really, really devastating. We say all over Nigeria, it is something that is affecting thousands of people. In the Afriland property, for example, there were 10 people that had died. 10 people in one incident. There was a market in Lagos here as well, that there were another 20 that had perished. And it is something that all over Nigeria, in Ibadan, there were 3 just in the recent past, in Onitsha, the markets, the Anambra State. So it's something that all over Nigeria, it is really very urgent that we should do something about it.
All right, so from a technical and safety engineering perspective, why are smoke alarms considered to be essential in early fire detection or prevention?
Thank you very much. So when it comes to fire prevention and fire safety, you can look at it from different aspects. You can look at it from saying that the people aspect is to get people safe, that evacuate. There's also, for many, the fire suppression, that is that of firefighters that will come and then fight the fire after it has started. That is reactive. Safety engineering, on the other hand, is saying that what is it that can be designed to be able to either stop the fire from happening, or to be able to control the fire, or to be able to control or to mitigate or to kill the fire. So in terms of the technical aspect is that what kind of materials you use to build, for example? Are they the kind of materials that will slow down or retard the fire from moving? There is also how you build. For example, in buildings, you can compartmentalize like buildings and say that in a public space, there are certain places where it is there like fire walls that you see. Anytime it is that you leave this space, there is a fire door so that if there is smoke, it does not like move too fast, or if it is something that people need to evacuate very quickly, this is where they can go, and this one is more protected. There's a draft. We saw that in, and particularly for like high-rise buildings. This is something that when you have many people in a place, you need to have some kind of intentional way of building the space so that you know people can go. It's not just like build it and say, we've built it. It's that to think, how do we build it so that people that come in here will be safe? The doors that are fire doors, for example, they open outward, they don't, shouldn't open inward. If a person is trying to escape, he shouldn't be there and say, everybody move back, I want to open the door. That just wouldn't make sense. And then also, because it's a public building where there are many people, you want to make it such that they're like signages. If whenever it is that there's a fire, people panic and they're like, what do we do? You want to make sure that people are guided, that this is how it is that we'll do. So again, this is what the engineering does, puts those things in place. The fire alarm as well. So there's smoke detector, there's heat detector. And what it is that the engineering does is to see that what is it that will be the most like critical signature, or what is it that we should say is a sensor for here. Now this is what the engineering is about, to say what do we do to be able to control it, and that is proactive, like you have said.
All right, so I also know that the Lagos state government is trying to do so much on this issue of fire safety, but then your institute, what specific policy framework or legislation is your institute proposing? Is it a blanket requirement for all public buildings, or will it be implemented in phases? Because I know very sure that you have to work with the government.
That is absolutely correct. You have to work with the government. So it's a multi-level thing. So first of all, I'll say at the federal level, to put in place like a framework or policies that will say that whenever it is that you are doing a building, the National Building Code, this is what we are suggesting.
That is my next question, but that was supposed to be my next question.
Yes, that to put in the National Building Code, a public building, so residential buildings, we want to encourage people, but a public building is to say that you cannot get approval or a permit or occupancy if you have not put in place a smoke alarm system. Doesn't have to do something elaborate or expensive, just that National Building Code will say this is what the standards for building are. The second level is that the emergency agencies, fire management, federal fire service, that to be doing like inspections, to say when you go into a building that is a public building, do they have a smoke detector? And it's something that as you're walking through, you'll be able to see. At our AGM, we held it in Ibadan. The representative of the Controller General of the Federal Fire Service, the Controller General spoke at our conference, and when we were just walking around, he was like, oh, there are a lot of buildings that do not have these smoke detectors. Some of them are old buildings. It's not something that we blame anybody. It's just to say that for new buildings, to say building code, you must have it. For old buildings, you must retrofit. And then saying to retrofit is to give incentives to those ones who are the building owners that will be doing audits, annual audits, inspections. We are going to check if you have installed a smoke detector. So that's one level that we're saying the regulatory agencies. But then also the developers and the owners. We're also saying there's a campaign for them as well, that install the smoke detectors. This is a cheaper route. This is a low barrier of entry, that you can just say, oh, I own this building. Many people will come. I will put the smoke detectors, whether it is a bank, whether it is a an event center, whether it is an office building, wherever it is that we know that there are going to be multiple people, this is something that it saves a lot of lives just because it shouts out. So we say that as well. Then the third level that I said is that we do our advocacy, which is why we are very happy that MITV has invited us on this, is that we're informing the public. Let the public know this is what it is that we are trying to do. Let more people be conscious, because safety is everybody's responsibility. And it doesn't have to be something that is so sophisticated. It's just something as simple as a fire alarm. The fourth thing that we are doing is that as an institution, we're asking public bodies, corporate bodies, to do a CSR. We would like to put a smoke alarm in our schools, in our markets, in places where it is that we'll say our public buildings, and we'll have the corporate bodies just say, okay, the Nigerian Institution of Safety Engineers, we will back your initiative. We can even brand it that this particular government school smoke alarms have been sponsored by social organization, and then the next particular school or government hospital or wherever it is that will say these corporate bodies, they are showing not just by what they say but by what they do that safety is something that is a priority.
Yeah, you said something about building code. Now, do we currently have any national building code that's in effect on safety regulations that mandate the installation of these smoke alarms in public buildings? There's nothing like that.
So there is a national building code,
Yeah.
but it does not have the smoke alarm as being mandatory.
Okay.
The national building code, so what it does, it identifies the different types of buildings, whether it is like it's a school, whether it's a residential home, whether it is an office building, whether it is a hospital. So there are different types of buildings, and then there are different ways you should build them, also based on the use or the occupancy rate, etc.
Okay.
But the one about fire, in Nigeria, we have not yet developed the regulations to be so, shall I say, comprehensive.
Yeah.
To be so comprehensive. Much of what we do in Nigeria, we use the NFPA, so the National Fire Protection Agency from the United States, that we will say these are standards that have been developed in other places where they are more advanced than us. But the Nigerian Institution of Safety Engineers, we are developing regulations or guidance for people to say these are the fire code for Nigeria. We do not have it yet for Nigeria. It's not yet inserted into the building code, but we have a number of codes that we have developed as the Nigerian Institution of Safety Engineers. So we are also working on the one for fire. Because we are a professional body, we are not a regulatory agency, there will be like recommended practices, it is true, but we are having experts that are fire experts in Nigeria as a result of our conference in Ibadan 2 weeks ago, that we are coming together, putting together this committee that is going to develop a code for Nigeria that we are now going to share with people, that will try and make sure that we insert these things into what is a public requirement. Okay,
so is this code still at the birthing level, or this proposal has already been made to government agencies, maybe even at federal or state level?
So it is something that we're still working on internally in the Nigerian Institution of Safety Engineers. So we've gotten our own members, different people who are experts in fire and gas, getting those people together to define what is it for Nigeria. We did something for construction safety. We have done for marine safety in Nigeria. There are codes or standards that are international, but for Nigeria, because we have people who have practiced, that they'll be able to say that, look, in Nigeria, this is how we should do this. Our markets, for example, this is how it is that they are built. They are not like Oyinbo markets that you say is like a ShopRite. So our market is Okari type, is Aleko type. How do you handle situations like this? And for some of these things, again, because of experience, we know what it is. Maybe it's electrical fire that caused it, or maybe it's that mishandling of volatile equipment. They have generators, they store fuel in the wrong places, it gets too hot. So these are things that we know from experience. Is now to just document it and then make it a standard for Nigeria, that whether you're in Lagos, whether you're in Onitsha, whether you're in Bauchi or whether you're in Ibadan, this is how it is to keep yourself safe when it comes to fire.
All right. So, okay, so one common concern will be cost. Some building owners might argue that installing smoke alarms increases expenses. How do you address this perception?
So again, this is something that we say that it's low-hanging fruit. Smoke alarms, how much is a smoke alarm, a battery-operated one? 8,000, 9,000?
Really?
Yes. It's check on, is it on Jumia? Check on any of those public portals. It's not something that is expensive. That's why we're saying we're making it a campaign that it's not so expensive. If you want to do something that is really expensive, put a fire zone, put this and that, it can then get maybe more expensive. But what you need is somebody to just raise an alarm quickly, then you can then maybe address it. And to get something that is under 10,000 naira, maybe the expensive ones, if it's sophisticated, 15 or 20,000 naira. But 20,000 naira to put in your home and then just be putting battery. What you need is just to say that, oh, something is happening, shout. And then,
so that incident at Afriland Towers in Lagos that happened in September could have been averted. You know, that level of devastation could have been averted if there was a smoke or fire alarm.
So several things that happened with that one. It started with inverter batteries. Inverter batteries, they are not the same type of fire hazard as where it is that you have it's cooking oil, or where it is that is wood. The batteries themselves, when they get very hot, they self-ignite. They do what is called thermal runaway, and then they start burning. Now, these ones, they were in the basement. And as they were burning, there was like black smoke that went up. So power had been cut. There was no light, and people in there are like, they've taken light, we are waiting for when they'll bring light. But the smoke now started oozing up the staircase. But it was also very black. Now, if there had been sufficient warning that it is not just based on electricity now, it's just that, look, there's the smoke coming up, that people come out, then people will have been able to respond faster. The emergency agencies, they did respond, but the way for people to come down, the stairways was filled with smoke, and the people are like, we don't know where to go, we can't see, there's no light or signage. And so they now started backing up. But the way the building was constructed was such that there was no emergency exit for them to go, or they did not see the sign. There was no, again, they said maybe there was a drill, but this is one of the things that is part of that those also are occupants of the building, that they should practice or be informed how to exit a building. There was no where it is that they could say, oh, we'll go. So they started breaking windows, and let's jump out. They had almost 10 minutes to be able to respond. If there had been an alarm and they said, once you hear this, you move out this way, it would not have affected so many, caused so much destruction.
Now, beyond installation of this fire alarm, how important is regular inspection and maintenance of these devices, and how can that be effectively managed? So, especially in our environment, Nigeria.
So it is also something that it now needs to become a culture, or to become a practice or a habit, that to be checking it. So maintenance is really just checking, and it's like good housekeeping. It's
exactly, because you have already said that it's not something that's complicated.
It's not complicated. It's not complicated. It's just to say, is the battery still working? So some of these smoke alarms, the battery-operated ones, for example, if they're independent, they will have a little light that blinks, and then you know whether it's still working. For the ones that are connected, they have their own power source. But really, for maintenance, again, is that the things that causes the fires the most is generally, maybe sloppiness. If, for example, in your kitchen, where is your gas cylinder? Is it inside? Is it outside? If it's inside, that's a hazard already. It's inside means that if there's a leak, if you say you want to start cooking, you could cause an explosion. So maintenance for that one is you're just checking, walking through. Is everywhere clean? Is everywhere tight? Are they where it is they should be? Wires that are, whenever it is that, maybe it's a market or it's a public place or maybe it's an office or it's a shop, if the wires are like all over the place, we brought something, we plug it, we plug it, and then it starts getting overloaded. It's just again a discipline, a culture to say, let's be checking. Now that's for us. Government also has a responsibility for our own safety, public safety. So government too should be checking. Now what government does is that they send inspectors who are more or less what we call auditors to also walk through. Sometimes they're afraid that they want to catch us, they want to fine us, they want to do something bad. But really the responsibility of the government is to check that we are all safe for the public, not just as individuals, but for the public. Then the government also has the responsibility of putting a sign on the wall, like a certificate to say we have checked that this place is safe. So typically, if you don't have such a sign, then it should be a flag that what's going on, why is this not happening? So it's one of the things that we're advocating when we say that every public building, it should have either a state safety commission like you have in Lagos or a fire service in other places. So you also check the public buildings. Do they have this certificate to show that somebody went through and just checked for fire safety? Just check for fire safety, that the emergency exits, are they blocked or are they free? Do they open outward, or did somebody chain them and say, oh, they don't want thieves to enter, and then it creates its own hazard? It's just to have both ourselves to be looking at it. They say, shine your eye, the government to say it is sending inspectors to just walk through, and then to have a certificate of compliance to say that, yes, we checked it, this place is fine.
But how will this work in the market space? You know, because we also hear about fire incidences in the market. There was one also almost at the same time with that Amphiland Towers in Mandilas on Lagos Island. Yeah, so how will this smoke alarm or fire alarm work in the market environment?
So in the markets, so markets, the thing about them is like, as in Nigerian markets, it's big public spaces, it's open air. There are maybe like, let's say 3 levels, how it is actually to work. There are certain places where it is they sell certain things that are more combustible than others. In those places, the market association themselves will know that this place is where it is that there could be a hazard, there could be a problem. So if we are going to have like smoke detection, this is where we will put it. Second thing will then be that whenever it is that there is a fire, you need not just people to come out, you need those also are the fire services to come in. So it means that when we arrange the market, we'll arrange the market such that there are sufficient spaces for firemen to go in to these locations that we know. There are places that we know they will be the hot spots. They are the usual suspects. So it's not just that fire happened. There's something that will have caused the fire if you have a complete fire triangle. So it's to just check it. So this is where this is going to be, this is where this is going to be. And then the third thing is that the market association itself can check. So awareness is a lot of the things to say that, look, if there's something like this, this is what we should do. If there's something like this, this is what we should do. So this program that you're doing that is educating people about fire safety is to raise awareness that when there's a fire, there's something we can do about it. We should leave it to the professionals to fight, but we have a responsibility to raise the alarm early so that it can be contained quickly. As soon as there's something that happens, so if it's a market where it is a cell foam, you know that is going to be highly combustible. Or if it is where it is that they have a lot of generators and they put fuel, you know this could be a flash point. So those are the places where it's okay, this is where we will put this thing so that if it starts there, it doesn't like now consume the rest of the fire. Fire does not do 1 + 1, 2 + 2. It just goes. It just
moves.
Yes, so it's something that the quicker you catch it, the better for everybody.
All right. So finally, if you could send one direct message to policymakers, building owners, and the general public, what would you say about making smoke alarms mandatory in every public building in Nigeria?
The message that we will say is that If you do not put a smoke alarm in your building, then don't open the door. Don't open the door if you do not put a smoke alarm. It may be a very nice building, yeah, it may do a lot of good, but before you open the door, put a smoke alarm. That is the message.
All right. Very direct. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank
All
you very
right,
much for
so
having
as we've heard today, fire safety isn't just about firefighting. It's about foresight, preparedness, and prevention. So a single smoke alarm can save dozens of lives. And also, hopefully, this advocacy should spark a change in Nigeria, and this needs to be done immediately. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with Engineer Oluseun Faluyi. He's the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Safety Engineers. We'll call you again some other time to talk about, because this is a very strong advocacy that people need to adhere to. They need to understand it. It's quite new, and we really need to get it. And it's cheap. It's new and cheap.
No, but that's the reality. You can have a big building, you'll have hundreds of people come, and all you need is a 15,000 naira smoke alarm not to have problems. The one that happened in the Afriland, everybody will be blaming is UBA Bank. They didn't do this, they didn't. And the people that died, they are big men. Director of tax office. The smoke or fire is not going to say, this is a big man, let me not kill him. There are people, young people, somebody was going to have his birthday the next day. Somebody that had just recently been married.
Somebody that just resumed from maternity
leave.
From
maternity leave is something that it has just so much tragedy. For us in the NI safety, it's not just statistics, it's lives that are destroyed. And those ones, even if the life is destroyed, and you say statistic, what about the family? The man that is left, his wife,
trauma,
his children, and the widows. Well, Parish is thought that the relatives come and kick her out of the house. But to lose lives, it's just not something that you say is...
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, I enjoyed myself.
Thank you.